Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video of My Creative Life with Kel Sweetie, where we make art, we read books, and during a certain time of year, we get into the Halloween holiday spirit. Today, we are going to be talking about my Trick or Sweet Challenge, which, if you don't know what that is, usually during the month of October, a lot of artists and illustrators do something called Inktober, but over the last couple of years, a lot of people have started to make their own drawing challenges, and I'm one of those people. So this is going to be my third year of the Trick or Sweet Challenge, which is a lot of fun. Last year, I started a theme that is probably going to be ongoing for about this year, and I'm hoping next year I can probably finish it, and that's my tarot deck theme. I started building out my own tarot based on my favorite Halloween TV shows and movies, and this year I'm handling all of the minor arcana since I got all the major arcana out of the way last year. Go check out that video if you have not, where I plan out in depth that list and that prompt of what I was going to use for each movie. That's available here on the channel. However, there is a longer in-depth planning video for this year on my Patreon if you want to go check that out and see how I came up with all of the TV shows and movies that I'll be sharing with you today that I'll be using for this year's prompts, as well as learning what this year's prompt list is going to be. So let's get to the intro and we'll talk about it on the other side. As I said before, last year was Major Arcana, which meant, you know, if you're not familiar with the tarot deck, the Lover's card, the Death card, things that were not suits and everything. That was a lot of fun. Honestly, some of those illustrations that I made last year were some of my favorites that I've done in a while, were some of my favorite illustrations, and I'm actually going to be selling some of those as stickers and prints this year during October, so make sure you keep an eye out for that on my Instagram if you're not following me over there, where I'll be announcing when it goes live on my Etsy shop. I'm super excited because, I mean, I posted like the Lover's card was the screen card with Stu and Billy, and I still love how I kind of broke that one down. I did a Beetlejuice as the Fool card, and that one still was so much fun. The Empresses I did for Practical Magic. And what I really loved that I did last year was not just simply like choose what movies and TV shows I loved and then just inserted them wherever, but I really wanted to make sure that the movies and characters I was choosing were emblematic of what the card itself was. I didn't just want to just use it for illustration purposes, but also like it could be a working deck, because the idea is that eventually once this is all done with, it will be a working deck. Right now we're just doing the illustrations, and I had so much fun last year. I think it's the reason why last year, actually for the last 2 years, I finished, so that's okay. I think that there was a lot of pressure, but I finished it on time, and I think the way that I kind of went about planning this year, I feel good about doing it as well. Now, as I'm recording this, we are a week out from the challenge starting, so I have to kind of get ahead a little bit on a couple of these, and to be honest with you, that's how a lot of these artists end up finishing their challenges on time. It really is because they're starting like nearly a week early on their images, because if you don't, life happens. You end up getting behind. You have to have some wiggle room. So I thought I would share it with all of y'all, what I'll be doing this year, why I'll be kind of doing some of these, but not going too far in depth, because we do already have a video for that on my Patreon. And I'm excited. I will say that the Pentacles really did kind of throw me for a loop on what movies and shows I should use for each one of those, but we ended up working it out. So to start off, we're going to be doing all the suits this year along with the higher minors. So that means the page, the queen, the knight, the king, and the ace will be covered in each suit of cups, wands, pentacles, and swords this year. I found last year not just having 31 prompts was actually very doable for me, to kind of have some wiggle room of about 2 days a week, where if I fell off, I could pick back up somewhere, or there would be some wiggle room for me to like try and pick back up somewhere else. I will say though that on my Instagram, I will be having week to week a theme happening for book recommendations based on these suits. So for instance, the Wands suit, which is what we'll be starting with, the next coming week will be representative of witches. So I kind of reassigned all of those suits to be associated with a certain Halloween specific iconography. So wands equal witches, of course. And so all next week, we will be doing nothing but witch recommendations, and also based off of my favorite witch shows, what those characters may like to read and everything. I thought that'd be a lot of fun because at the end of the day, we are still doing books here. We're doing art and books. And so I thought it would be fun to try and combine both of these as we're doing the challenge itself. And so it's not just me doing nothing but art all month. Have I put a lot on my plate? Always. So let's move through these a bit and I'll explain to you what each suit now is associated with, along with what I plan on doing for each one of these cards. So as I said, we're starting off with wands. Week 1 is wands, and that is witches. Page of Wands. We'll be doing Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I already, in my major arcana, covered Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, but both of these are different. I think that one thing the Sabrina franchise has done extremely well is doing the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina and having something that is extremely scary, and having something Sabrina the Teenage Witch, which is a lot more Halloween, fun, not scary type of thing. You have something for everybody. It's amazing. The Archie Comics franchise won out on this. So I did feel like I needed to represent both because I watch both for different reasons all year long. Page is Sabrina the Teenage Witch. Queen of Wands is Marie Laveau from American Horror Story Coven. It was very hard because I know last year I wanted Marie Laveau in my lineup of major arcana, but I just couldn't find a card that really spoke to that character because I love her character. I mean, out of all of the American Horror Story seasons, Coven's probably one of my favorites just because it's creepy, but it's also got this type of, it's like Jennifer's Body, like very girl witch centric, but still extremely, extremely creepy and scary and everything. So and Marie Laveau's character is just amazing. I mean, Angela Bassett looks amazing in that show. So I thought this would be the perfect situation for me to label her for the queen. Then we have the Knight of Wands, which will be Elaine from The Love Witch. Now, I tried my best for a majority of these TV shows and movies that I'll be incorporating to only be shows and movies that I myself have actually watched. But there were a few iconic witches or monsters or ghosts that I simply couldn't leave off of these, especially with the hindsight of the idea that these will eventually be actual cards and tarot that will be used. So I have not watched The Love Witch, but it is currently streaming, and I plan on watching The Love Witch finally. I know a lot of y'all are like, how have you not watched that? But I have not gotten a chance to, and this will be my first time actually watching it. Reading about Elaine and everything, I felt like that would be the perfect card for her with what it represents, but I feel like a poser kind of stating that I've not watched The Love Witch. But I am including it because, again, I just feel like she has become extremely iconic as far as Halloween and witch movies are concerned, and I just didn't want to leave her out. So we have that. We have the King of Wands, which is Madame Leota from Haunted Mansion. Madame Leota is a witch to me. She is not just a seer, but I feel like also a witch, in my personal opinion, and to leave Madame Leota out really just didn't feel right, and I hadn't featured Haunted Mansion yet. And then for the Ace of Wands, we'll be doing Angelica Hurston's character from The Witches. If you've not watched, I've also learned that a lot of people have not watched The Witches, which is a great film. It's based off of a novel, but it's also very scary. Like when they rip them wigs off, it's very scary, and they turning kids into rats. Just check your chocolate. Just don't eat chocolate from random old ladies, people. Just don't do it. So I included that. There's a lot of back and forth on what should be the ace, but I felt like that one was appropriate, and it was also going to be pretty fun to see how to incorporate the mice and the witches, and I really wanted to draw them like how they look when they have their like wigs off and everything, but I also wanted to figure out a way to somehow incorporate these like luxury portions of them, because that was the other thing about the witches, is that they were very luxe. They were very, very like, oh, we need to get our money. That's why we're at this this like convention in the high European Alps and everything. That will be our wands list for this month. As far as prompts are concerned, I am literally just labeling what the prompts and what I'll be using for each one of those prompts. For anybody who wants to participate in Trick or Sweet, how we did it last year is that I put those out there, what I'd be doing, but everybody is allowed to switch out what they feel like was a better representation. I even had somebody last year who was using Disney films, just Disney films, not necessarily Halloween specific, but just Disney, to do their tarot cards, and that was a lot of fun to see how their representation was. Just a heads up if you want to participate and you don't necessarily want to use the image, like the iconography that I'm using. Next are pentacles, which was my problem child of this list. And pentacles ended up being monsters. I had such a hard time trying to label what felt right for each one of these. And mainly, a lot of that just had to do with the fact that I didn't want to go in the direction which I've done in the past regarding monsters of men, which basically means people who are monsters themselves. Like monster in like their insides, not that they're actually a monster. I didn't want to go into that direction because I feel like it gets very hazy considering another category on this list, which is swords, and I made slashers. I really wanted it to be focused on, okay, are there actual monsters in this film? Then we can use it. If there's not, it's in the slasher category now. And so that's what really made this kind of hard. All in all, though, I think I'm happy with where we ended up. So, Page of Pentacles will be the Babadook. I think that one was really great considering what the Page of Pentacles represents, as well as the fact that I definitely wanted to keep the Babadook somewhere on these tarot cards. I think that movie is really amazing and a great look at how grief can manifest itself in depression. Queen of Pentacles. This one threw me for a loop because what I will say is, considering what the Queen of Pentacles represents, which is a caring of a family and business oriented, I was like, oh, Mrs. Lovett from Sweeney Todd. I mean, the card itself is her representation all the way. However, going back to the conversation of monsters of men, although it was such a perfect fit, I just couldn't, I wanted the continuity more than I wanted that, and so I instead went with Xenomorph from Alien, mainly because of the mother trope. I mean, Alien really is just about pregnancy and motherhood and spreading your seed. So I thought that it would be funny to kind of go in that direction. I'm actually going to be setting a challenge for myself to watch the entire Alien franchise this year during Halloween. I've only watched some movies here and there, and I've not watched the entire franchise. I actually haven't even seen Romulus yet, which is killing me because I've been talking to 5 different people on going to go see the film, and we just haven't set a date. And so I haven't seen it. In a minute, I'm just going to take myself on a date to go see the movie just so I can see it in theaters. We'll be doing the Xenomorph from Alien for the Queen of Pentacles. The Knight of Pentacles, Jean Jacket from Nope. I really do want to have M. Haywood and OJ Haywood also featured somehow in this, and maybe even Jupe. I'm still figuring out how I'm going to do this one, but I do know that it has to do with the horse and like the representation of what the card is, but I felt like this would be perfect for Jean Jacket. Then, King of Pentacles, I went with David from Lost Boys. Now, again, I've not seen Lost Boys. I know, it's not that I have not wanted to watch it, it's that it's never streaming anywhere, and I have so many streaming services that I really do refuse to buy a film. I just won't rent it. Like, I'm just like, I'll wait. It's got to be streaming somewhere at some point. Next and last for Pentacles is Ace of Pentacles, which I will be using. I think I want to use Tombs. I'm not certain. There's so many different monsters that I could use, but I think that I will be using Tombs from the X-Files. He is so scary, and he's an alien, so I feel like it works. I know that somebody is like, you said monsters of men. He's technically not man. He is technically an alien. I don't know. I may like also look into something else. I don't know, but I did want to include X-Files because X-Files itself does focus a lot on aliens and monsters, and I did want to include more sci-fi options and supernatural options instead of just like, you know, slasher, occult, or anything along those lines, or just like, you know, ghost-like monsters. And that's why there's so many alien type of, like Jean Jacket's an alien, and Xenomorph, and X-Files. That is our Pentacles. Then we will be going into Cups, which, considering it's an emotional suit, I chose Ghosts and Spirits for that one. Page of Cups, we'll be doing Cole from The Sixth Sense. I also, of course, will be including Bruce Willis's character, whose name is now escaping me, and I'll put it down in the caption because I don't know how I'm like forgetting what his name is currently. But we'll be doing The Sixth Sense, of course, because it's just a classic ghost film. Really, I know that I already know how it ends, but it's still just a really great film to watch during Halloween. Then Queen of Cups, we'll be doing Coco, and I want to feature Mama Coco in that card. I feel like, I mean, Coco's just amazing. And speaking of ghosts and spirits, of course, Coco seemed like a great representation. And to get some more, you know, people of color on this list, you know, Knight of Cups will be Emily from Corpse Bride. Again, a classic to watch during the Halloween season. King of Cups will be Daniel Robital from Candyman. Now, I've not watched Candyman. I know. I've meant to watch Candyman. Many times I have meant to watch Candyman. And one thing happens, somebody else chooses a different movie that sounds better, it's not streaming, whatever the case is. I've not watched it, but I have to watch it now because I've already done like 2 articles on it because of the practical effects that were amazing in that film. They had hypnotists on that film, real bees were not just on in that film. Like every scene you see bees, those aren't CGI, those are real bees. Even the one where the bees are literally coming out of Candyman's mouth, those were all real bees, and he got paid like $1,000 per bee sting or something. So again, I have so much respect for the film now that I have to watch it, and it's on this list. So I have to watch it now, even if I have to rent it. And then finally, Ace of Cups is Casper. And of course, the one that has Christina Ricci in it, because that's the only one that really truly matters. So that is our list for cups. Last but not least, we have swords, which are slashers. That kind of seemed to one up. That kind of made sense, of course, just like wands and witches. And this one will end our Trick or Sweet challenge this year. Page of Swords will be Patrick Bateman from American Psycho. Great film. I'm going to finally read the book at some point. I don't know if it's going to be this October or if I'm going to wait and maybe read it in December. I think December is starting to become this kind of free-for-all for some of the things I'm reading, but we will see. But Patrick Bateman will be Page of Swords. Queen of Swords will be Pearl. I finally watched Pearl this year, and I loved it. Have I watched Maxine? No, I've not watched Maxine yet. But I finally get the hype. I absolutely love Pearl. That final scene, Mia Goth deserves all the flowers because the intensity and the psycho, the emotion, the uncomfortability of watching her as we close in on her slowly like crying and losing her mind in this one shot was amazing. It blew me away. I absolutely loved it. It was not what I was expecting, and amazing in the conversation of aging and womanhood and becoming, again, y'all know I love a good horror story in regards to the conversation of women becoming mothers who did not want to become mothers or losing their lives or identity because of motherhood. And I love this film. I get it now. I absolutely root for Pearl. It's so much fun, and she had to be on this list considering that. Knight of Swords, Freddy from Nightmare on Elm Street. Did I finally watch Nightmare on Elm Street this year? Yes. You know how when you're a kid, I have found from a lot of interviewing a lot of people for the Night Terror magazine, a lot of us who love horror were really some chickens back when we were kids. And that's the reason why we started getting into horror, because we were like, no more. I will not be afraid anymore. And then it just became obsessive. And when I was a kid, I don't know if I saw like a small portion of Nightmare on Elm Street that just freaked me out. It was a small portion. It's like the reason why I'm still not seeing Child's Play. Like, it's because I saw some scene from Chucky far too young, and it freaked me out so much. And probably now when I watch it, it probably really won't freak me out. It probably will be like, oh, this is hilarious. I'm so glad that I'm not watching this film. Again, another tangent, but I did watch Nightmare on Elm Street finally, and I felt like a Freddy. I had to have a Freddy. And so that will be the Knight of Swords. King of Swords will be Jason from Friday the 13th. Also, finally, I watched Friday the 13th for the first time last year, during Friday the 13th. And the first part one, I have such an appreciation for, considering who the actual killer is. I won't say who the actual killer is, because some of y'all may not have watched it, and I don't want to ruin it for y'all. But I have a huge appreciation for part one. And I'm going to have Jason, but I also want to have Mrs. Voorhees somehow included in that tarot card. And then, finally, Ace of Swords, which will be Norman Bates from Psycho. So that will end my Trick or Sweet challenge. Again, I watched finally Psycho, and I have a newfound appreciation, like last year, and I have a newfound appreciation for older films like that. I think that I just was never interested in watching a lot of Alfred Hitchcock films. or things that are older than that. My partner loves things like that. Loves the Twilight Zone, loves the Alfred Hitchcock film. There's something about the eeriness of it that he really does like. And he was like, oh, you want to watch Psycho? And I was like, oh, okay, fine. And I was thinking, you know, I'm going to be bored or something. How it was shot, now learning the practical effects of it all, I really do have an appreciation for the film, and I really do want to watch some more Alfred Hitchcock films. I even watched the, I think it's like the Hitchcock Hour or something like that, where he has like his shorts. I watched some of that recently, and that was even fun to watch. Psycho from Norman Bates will be our last for the Trick or Treat Challenge, and then we'll do a roundup. I am hoping that I can do a third year of finishing this challenge, because I finished last year on time. I finished the year before that on time when it was an ABC book I was doing, which I still want. I have a zine on my Etsy right now if you want to go check that out. But I really want to finish this on time because I had so much fun doing it last year, and looking back, it put me through the gauntlet. But also, my drawing just got so much better because all year I'm sitting here and I'm crafting and I'm reading and all of that. I'm just not drawing as much. Like, it really is great practice for me to keep up with my drawing and illustration skills, and it gives me a whole lot to put into my portfolio. So I really love doing this challenge every year, and I'm hoping that I can do it on time. So that is my Trick or Treat challenge with all of its prompts and who I'll be using for each one. If you've not seen it already, I've posted the asset list on my Instagram, so go check me out over there to see like what it all is kind of written out. And please note that I will be doing book recommendations at the start of all of those weeks. I will be doing, at the start of each week's topic, I will be doing recommendations, some of my favorite recommendations for the iconography. So for witches, you'll be getting all of my favorite witch recommendations. For monsters, my favorite monster recommendations, and so on and so forth at the top of that week. And then at some point throughout the week, you'll be getting another one to two? I think I got 1 to 2 recommendations based on that suit. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Based on that suit. So, as a little sneak peek, for witches recommendations, witches wands, I'll be doing charmed recommendations based on Prue, Piper, and Phoebe's personalities and what they would probably like to read, as well as the craft and what the 4 of them would like to read, what Nancy, Bonnie, Rochelle, or Sarah would be interested in. For monsters, Pentacles week, we'll be doing Buffy as well as X-Files. For the Cups/Spirits week, we'll be looking at the Blair Witch Project and Beetlejuice. And for Swords Slashers, we'll be taking my favorite film, Scream, and we'll be basing some books off of that. We'll be doing a pretty long one, considering that's the only one that I'll be doing for that week, because I will probably be tired out. So make sure that you're following me on Instagram if you're looking for any book recommendations, as well as a lot of great art all month long. I am both excited and scared, but as per usual, I try my best to finish it all out. Amongst all of that, I will still be doing crafts. Do you not worry. We will be doing plenty of crafts. I'm seeing my books right here at the top of my bookshelf. I love to collect 80s and 90s vintage crafting books because I just feel like there's so much fun, and I really will be releasing one video on this channel, and we'll be releasing some snapshots throughout the month over on my Patreon, as well as some extra content of me trying out some other vintage crafts over there. So again, if you're here for the art, you're getting a lot of it this season. I'm so excited, and I cannot wait to get started. Scared, but cannot wait. If you enjoyed today's video, and if any of that sounds interesting to you for the upcoming videos coming on this channel, then make sure you subscribe. Down below. Give me, please, a like on this video, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.